He was a king without a kingdom, a genius who made the world stop and watch, then disappeared. Bobby Fischer went to war with the Soviets and won, but what happens when a person who conquers Russia turns against itself? Robert James Fischer, mostly known as Bobby Fischer, wasn't just another chess prodigy. He was an American weapon, a child genius who grew up obsessed with the board and its pieces. He crushed every American along his way growing up before setting his eyes on the Soviets.
Bobby, where do you go from here?
Well, I want to play the Russians, the best in the world, and I'm going to beat them all.
In the world of chess, the USSR was untouchable. They held the world championship title for 2 decades straight. And then came Bobby Fischer. He was arrogant.
Well, when you break his ego.
Unfiltered and unpredictable.
Do you honestly think that you probably are the world's greatest chess player?
Yeah, right.
An egoist.
I always said I was the best. Everyone said, oh, he's an arrogant, terrible, conceited person. But now it's just an obvious fact I'm the best.
But an egoist who can back himself up with the abilities to devour his opponents. In 1972, he faced Boris Spassky in Reykjavik, Iceland. It wasn't just America versus Russia. To him, it was individualism versus machines. And as the world watches, the boy from Brooklyn faces the greatest in Russia. The match almost never happened. Things weren't going well for Fischer. Everything bothered the genius, the camera, the lighting, the noise, and even the chessboard. He refused to play the second game out of 12 and the whole tournament was on the edge of collapse until the US government stepped in. Henry Kissinger, the Secretary of State, personally called him, and somehow it worked. Bobby Fischer came back and there followed the historic event. He crushes Spassky 12-8. He wasn't just winning, he was throwing him odd moves, wild sacrifices, and it was pure tactical genius. At one point, Spassky even stood up and clapped. Bobby was held as an American Cold War hero, but while he dominated chess, his mind turned against him. He was drowning in paranoia. He accused the Soviets of cheating.
The Russians are cheats!
Poisoning his foods and everything in between. The man who once saw check then moves away, we're now seeing threat in every corner. And then he vanished. No title defense, no spotlight, $1 million turned down. He stepped away from the game he once ruled. Years later, he came back, but he was the ghost of the man who once beat the Russians at their own game. Brilliance was there like usual, but he wasn't Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer didn't just play chess, he was the game itself. For something built on silence and strategy, the way he played made so much noise.
Bravo.
But being a genius isn't easy. And in the end, the world champion who beat the system couldn't beat himself.